Dr.Joseph Sevilla is the director of iLab Africa, a research and innovation center at Strathmore University. What worries him the most is how to keep employees after you have trained them. We discuss startups and the role of technology in business on this week's Captains of Industry.
So, Dr. Sevilla, how exactly was it like growing up?
Growing up at home or here in Kenya?
Yeah, everywhere. Tell me about it.
Well,
how was it like?
I was born in Spain. I did my university there. And then I came to Kenya after I finished my degree. I joined Strathmore University. I began teaching there. I began teaching students of accountancy. Then my passion was IT, so I introduced courses in IT in the early, I think 1990 or even earlier. And then we were training professionals in IT for many years. Once we became a university, we set up a school of IT. And then a few years ago, 8 years ago, I started a research and innovation center, also here in Strathmore. It's called at iLab Africa.
So, Dr. Sevilla, what kind of a leader are you? Do you lead from the front or do you lead from the back?
I think I try to identify the areas that are of interest. Then I get people who join me, and then they can develop all these areas. So what I'm trying to do is basically to bring up teams, okay? To bring up teams that they can develop all that. I don't develop it myself. I get people who can develop it. And what I'm doing is trying to train them, trying to give them access to education, to masters, to PhDs, so that they can develop all these skills, and then we can build all these teams.
So what is the motivation behind what you do? What motivates you?
Well, the motivation is I want to get young people to have the skills of the 21st century. I want to see all these people grow. We are also running an incubator. So the idea of the incubator is, for so many years in Strathmore, we have been training people. They come with very good ideas that can lead into businesses, but then they didn't have any support. So now through the incubator, we are providing this support. So we get all these young people with great ideas, with products that they have developed, and they have a commercial potential. So we get them to have access to capital, access to investors. We train them how to do a business pitch, how to protect their IP, how to register their business, how to do a business plan. So I think with that, we are making a difference, okay? And I'm very happy to be part of making that difference.
How do you manage to have a long career? How do you build your career to ensure that everything falls in place to what you started out with?
So I have the long-term goals, which is basically to become a leading IT center, not just in Kenya, but in the region and eventually Africa, the whole continent. And, well, that requires little steps, step by step.
How do you manage stress? Because everything just doesn't go black and white.
I used to do a lot of sports. Nowadays I do less. I like reading. Obviously, you meet with your friends, you go out. I love going to national parks, for instance. Kenya is absolutely beautiful. So that's more or less what you do, and in that way you release the stress.
And what does it take to join your team? What do you look for when hiring?
What I'm looking for is young people who have ideals, that they are self-motivated. So the type of people that you don't need to be telling them what to do.
And finally, how do you deal with disappointments? Because sometimes you can innovate a product, create a solution, but it just doesn't go according to plan.
Well, disappointments are there. I would say they are there all the time. So when disappointments come, you just move on, okay? It's, life is very rich. You have lights, you have shadows. So when things don't turn up as you wanted, then you just say, okay, let's move on, okay? Or if it didn't work, we'll try something different.